Welcome to Small Business Big Story, powered by OPPSWell. I'm your host, M.F. Booker. We can thank my moms for that. Love you, Ma. Small Business Big Story, the place where businesses come for community and camaraderie. In today's economic environment of tariffs, inflation, reduced profit margins, and a shifting workforce, we need to network, share best practices, and support each other more now than ever. So get your sense of community here. Our rising tide raises all boats. Commercial time.
Small Business Big Story is brought to you by OPPSWell, the premier B2B service connecting buyers and sellers. If you are looking to develop new business relationships that can support your business journey and enhance your sense of community, head on over to OPPSWell. That's OPPSWell. Check it out and get your 6-month free trial. Community and networking is everything to business. Who you know is just as important as what you know.
And we're back, so let's get into it. Each week, we shine a light on the grit, the heart, and the hustle behind small businesses. We unpack the challenges and search for solutions. Real stories, real resources, real advice. Wherever you are in your business evolution, this is your space to learn, to reflect, to get inspired, and to build community. Today, we're diving into a topic that should be on the mind of every small business owner: how to ride the success train and avoid the derailment pitfalls. Let's be honest, entrepreneurship is so glamorized. We hear all the success stories, the million-dollar brands, the rags to riches tales, but we don't talk enough about the slow days, the cash flow droughts, and the feelings of what have I gotten myself into. From my own experience of speaking to other small business owners, there are 5 core reasons that small businesses struggle to survive. They don't have capital, so lack of access to capital. Poor planning or unrealistic expectations, burnout and isolation, no support system, and the inability to pivot or adapt to change. Sound familiar? According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, 1 in 5 small businesses fail within their first year, and by year 5, nearly half are gone. Now that's not just numbers, that's dreams, that's families, that's communities. So today, we're going to explore why small businesses struggle to survive. But more importantly, with that kind of half glass full approach, we're going to talk about what it really takes to stay in the game. And today's guest is someone who has mastered that last part, staying in the game. Ivan Batista is a small business owner who has been running his businesses for nearly 10 years. He has seen both the hard lessons and the hidden wins of small business ownership, the growth and the grind. So welcome, Ivan, to Small Business Big Story.
Marilyn, thank you so much for having me. It's actually an extreme pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here, and I would love for you to start off by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about yourself and your businesses and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Ivan Batista. I own a few companies out here in Las Vegas. One of them is a boba shop where we specialize in fruity drinks and just making people happy when it comes to food. And then on top of that, I also own a franchise, which is the Molly Maid franchise, where we specialize in residential and commercial cleaning services. And then at the end, I go ahead and do residential real estate as well.
And I must say, I am a proud customer of Molly Maid, and your business is phenomenal. So promote.
Yes, Marilyn, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
No, absolutely. So I'm just curious, Ivan, you do a lot of different things. What inspired you to start your own businesses? And again, the different lines of business.
Well, honestly, I have to thank my grandma. Whenever I was younger, she gave me 3 options. One of them was either go into law enforcement or go into the medical field and business. Mm-hmm. So at a young age, I had the opportunity to go ahead and try the medical aspect, more or less just an anatomy class, honestly. I saw the anatomy class, crushed my dreams there. So I transitioned.
I've been there too.
And then from there, I wanted to go into the law enforcement. So I tried a ROTC. I became an explorer. And then I realized, you know what? None of those are for me. And I said, you know what? I'm actually going to be like Marilyn, and I'm going to go to become an attorney. I did the mock trials,
Yes.
and too much schooling for me. I said no. And
Okay.
then the only thing I had left was just business. So I took business all throughout high school. And then the moment I graduated, that's whenever I was able to start getting into sales, and I opened up my own company from there.
That's great. So you've done this, like I said, for nearly 10 years, and you had the advice from your grandmother, and she really guided you into the business channel. Thinking back to that first year when you were just starting out, can you talk about one of your biggest challenges?
So one of my biggest challenges was actually being a boss. So people don't realize it. They do glamorize being an entrepreneur, but it's not as easy as people think. Whenever you're the boss, everyone comes to you for issues. And sometimes you actually have no clue how to solve the problem. And that's one of the biggest challenges that I faced. And whenever it comes with the sales portion, oh my God, whenever you have employees coming to you saying they need the work and you don't have the work, that is devastating. It's horrible. So for me, those were some of my biggest challenges, especially in the beginning.
Got it. And that totally makes sense, because managing people, that is a class in and of itself. So
Oh yeah.
I get that totally. So I'm just curious too, because one of the things I said at the outset was about capital and access to funding. Can you talk about? 'Cause you have to have money to run these businesses. They don't just run on thin air. So
No.
can you talk about how you manage your cash flow in that very first year?
Yeah. So for me, one of the biggest things, and I thank my partner for this, she is she's in the financial aspect. So she's the one that handles all of the funding whenever it comes to the back end. So in the beginning portion, I ran and I'm still operating the operations, sales, and the day-to-day activities. She's handling more of the back end. So whenever we first started, she kept her job. So that way, if we ever needed to, we would have to she would have to put in a little bit of money. So that helped drastically, because there was times where, unfortunately, the payroll still had, payroll still had to get paid. There is no going around it. So, but sometimes you are a little bit short, especially in those beginning days. So for us, we had to she pulled out some extra funds and was able to make sure that everything got paid. And then from there, I made sure to do my part, increase sales, and be able to have the work that's needed for the team members, which does put a lot of pressure and a lot of stress some days, because you're at the office just constantly just following up and checking in, making sure that everything is being operated properly. And then the team members, they have issues and stuff. But yeah, it was mainly that. Yeah. And we also, in the beginning as well, we also had to take out a loan. So
Okay.
that definitely helped out. I noticed a lot of entrepreneurs, it does seem as if it's all glamorized. And the moment you open up a business, you get $1 million. It's not like that at all.
Yes.
And for us, we definitely had to get out a few loans, because it can get pretty tough.
Yeah. And I wonder how many small business owners think about the loan aspect, because I know a lot of small businesses are looking at raising capital and going the private equity route. But I'm glad you mentioned that the loan aspect, that is a possibility too, in terms of getting capital into your business.
Yeah, and it's true. One of the biggest things I learned was there's good debt and there's bad debt. So for us, we always took out good debt. We were able to get the funding that we needed, but we weren't hurting ourselves. Sometimes people get a loan and it just ends up causing more damage than benefits. So for us, it was really beneficial. So it was more or less a good debt than rather negative.
No, that's great. That's great. So you had a partner, but I'm still curious, have you or did you have any of those days where you said, what have I gotten myself into?
I've had days like that where I'm just looking around and I'm like, what am I doing? It wasn't necessarily me saying to myself, why did I do this? What am I doing? But more or less me just honestly confused on how am I going to figure out the solution to the problem that I'm solving. I have no clue at times what it is that I'm doing, but luckily I had really good mentors and my partner had a large amount of experience. So I didn't always want to lean on her, so I did a lot of research, and I was also able to reach out to a lot of my other friends that are business owners. And then luckily, since we own a franchise, I was able to reach out to our franchise coach.
That's great. And you mentioned mentor. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of having mentors in business and maybe some of the lessons that your mentor taught both you and your partner?
Yeah. So for me, one of my first mentors was in high school. He was one of my business teachers, and he taught me so much. He really made me believe in myself whenever it came to the business aspect. So that's where it started. And then as I got the business and I moved forward with everything, I was able to reach out to other owners throughout the nation to get feedback from them, and they were also able to advise me and help me out. So I considered a lot of them to be mentors. One of them his name is Harry Young, and he's the largest franchise owner in all of the nation. So luckily he was my mentor. So I would reach out to him constantly for different types of advice and struggles that I'm going through, because he's been through it and it's helped me out drastically. It doesn't matter at what point you are in business, it's always beneficial to have a mentor.
Absolutely. And a sounding board just to, run ideas by. That's great.
Oh,
Yeah, that's awesome. So speaking of that, talk to me a little bit about some of the wins, because we know how important positive reinforcement is. And sometimes maybe where you're having one of those days that, may not be a great day, because we all have them. It's a cyclical, place to be. We have the ups and the downs, but when you're having those wins and that positive, you can do it. Talk to me about that feeling and maybe share some examples of that.
One of the biggest wins for me was back during actually COVID. It was a devastating time, but for us, we grew so much. And one of the biggest reasons on why we were able to grow, and for me is such a big win, is because of the way that we were able to pivot. And something that we did at that time that I'm extremely happy about is our marketing strategies.
Okay.
We switched everything up, and we went back to the drawing board, and we said, okay, here's what we need to do. And we did it, and it worked drastically. A lot of our competitors were going out of business. A lot of them were just, unfortunately just closed down. They weren't able to continue. And for us, we were able to continue to gain a lot more. So for me, that was a huge win, because we grew so much that year.
Yeah, it's interesting because there were a lot of businesses that closed during COVID. We know what those statistics are, and it's not a pretty picture. But there were also opportunities, and the fact that you were able to identify some of those opportunities and turn them into a thriving business venture, that says a lot about you and your initiative, your drive, your smart, your intelligence, and just your desire to run a successful business.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
That's happened. So speaking of that, I'm going to take you back to year one, because again, you clearly understand what it takes to make a business work. And I like to say not just survive, but thrive. But if we go back to year one, is there anything that you would have done differently, knowing everything that you know today? That's a loaded question, right?
Yeah. So the number one, honestly, if anyone is purchasing a resale business, most of the time, if it wasn't performing, fire the entire staff, fire everyone. One of my biggest mistakes was that I kept everyone, and I tried to work with them. And honestly, I ended up replacing literally everyone that was there at that time, just because they just didn't work out. They caused so much headaches for us, so much problems, and all I was trying to do was really help them and keep them. But if I can go back to day one, I would immediately start replacing.
That's right. Start with a new team.
It sounds
new ideas.
It sounds cold, but in business, it's the truth.
Yeah.
If at the time that when we purchased it, the company wasn't producing the numbers that it should have.
Yeah.
And one of the negative aspects was primarily because of the staffing that they had. And the owner didn't realize that at the time. So when we took it over, we identified it, but we tried to fix all of them and help them and be able to coach them and truly make a difference with them and have them grow with us. But the way employees look at a company is significantly different than the way the owner looks at it. So
Yeah. No, I think it makes a difference because legacy can be good and bad in business, but the key is to understand kind of which bucket you fall in.
yeah,
And if you realize that it's not necessarily in the good bucket, but in the not so good bucket, then you have to adjust and make changes.
Exactly.
So I totally understand that. So I'm just curious, again, you remember at the outset I talked about how many small businesses struggle in, the first year. I'm sure there are a lot of, small business owners or people who want to start businesses who are listening to this. What advice would you give to them or share with them to encourage them to, make that leap? Because there is something special about working for yourself and running your own business. But I would love to hear, what would you say to them?
one of the biggest thing is preparing yourself. And I love that you said that, being an entrepreneur is really glamorized, because it is, but no one really looks at the difficulties that it takes. So honestly, preparation, and something that I learned is capital. If you do not have the capital or you do not budget properly, chances are you are not going to succeed. Like, it's unfortunate, no matter how good of a dream you have, no matter how great of a goal, you will not succeed if your budgeting isn't there. I also learned that the hard way with another company that I started. And so budgeting, it's one of the most important things that there is.
No, absolutely. I'm for having spent nearly 30 years on Wall Street, I totally understand the importance of, finance and capital and managing your budget. Yeah.
And if someone goes into business, figure out what you're good at and what you're bad at. Truly be honest with yourself, because most of the times people try to do it all, even if they're not good at it. And that actually can cause a lot more damage than you just identifying, okay, I am not actually good at the accounting portion, but I'm amazing at marketing, or I'm amazing at sales. And all the time that it takes for you to learn a certain area in that business can actually take up from what you're actually good at. I'm not saying it's not good to learn all of it, but to do it all is next to impossible.
Exactly. I one of my favorite phrases is delegate, but don't abdicate. So you have the right team around you, but you stay on top of what's going on.
Yes.
So Ivan, what's next for you? I mean, you've done obviously some phenomenal things. What's next for you and your businesses?
For the businesses, definitely continue to scale them and get them to grow as much as possible. But I'm working on a new venture of mine. This is something completely different. I've never done something like this, but I'm very passionate. And whenever I see you constantly going out into different ventures, and it motivates me. So I am working on an app here soon, and so that's my next step, is coming out with an app.
So you have to commit that when you're ready and that app is ready, you're going to come back to Small Business Big Story and tell us all about it.
100%, yes.
Awesome.
Of course.
Awesome. So how can people connect in with you if they want to reach out to you? They have questions. Is there an email? What's the best way for people to connect in? Are you on social media?
I am on social media, and I have an email. Pretty much all the basic ways that anybody can get in contact with anyone. That's pretty much how they can get in contact with me. I'm pretty open as well. Okay,
great. Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much, Ivan. I appreciate having you here and the gems that you shared. Big takeaway, capital is king. Make sure you're that. And I love how you emphasized the importance of your support mechanisms, your partner, your mentors, and of course your grandmother. Okay, We'll never forget that. So we thank her for who we have here today. So thank you so much for being part of our Small Business Big Story episode today. And I am hopeful that people who are listening to this, they've learned something about, how do you continue to thrive? And like I say, not just survive, but thrive in the business. How do you do that? And, if you found this helpful, please be willing to share this with other small business owners so we can get the word out about the great advice and the phenomenal words of wisdom that Ivan has shared with us today. Again, I am about to wrap up on this episode, but I want to thank everybody for joining us on Small Business Big Story. This is the place where we are amplifying small businesses the voices of small businesses and the advocates of small businesses. And if you've got a story you want me to tell, you've got a topic you want me to cover, or if you just have a question, let me know. I'm here for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, so you never miss a story. And finally, head over to OPPSWell.com to learn more about joining the OPPSWell community and to continue to build your own community. I'll see you in the next episode of Small Business, Big Story. That's the word. Now go make it real.